Hello, hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to the intuitive card reading for the week of July 28th through August 3rd. First, I want to say, please excuse my voice. It's a little nasally. I'm having some histamine issues today. If you know, you know. But, I apologize in advance. So sorry if that's distracting. Hopefully it's not. Okay, so we'll go right into it. Please like this video. Please share this video with anybody that needs to hear the energies and the influences of the week. Please put comments down below. I love comments. Your feedback is always welcome. Just be kind. Any comments regarding you like the reading, maybe you didn't like the reading, maybe it did resonate, maybe it didn't resonate, just put all that down below. And yeah, like I said, just be kind. That's all I ask. This is a reading for the collective. I have 3 decks here. You guys are very familiar with these decks. They are shuffled and ready to go. I'm ready to go, so let's just jump right into it and see what the week has in store for us. All right, what do we need, guys? Okay, we have Virgin in the Light, maintaining symbolic purity of heart and spirit. Okay, so this is an interesting one. The kind of energy that's coming from here is kind of like doing things from just the purity of spirit, meaning like because you actually want to do something, doing something because you actually enjoy doing it, or getting back to doing the thing that you love to do. But also, like, I'm getting this feeling of like not being not being jaded. Like Spirit is asking us to find the, how do I say this? Find the thing that really made us love the particular thing that we're jaded about, and really try to hold on to that, or get to the core of that, right? Because I'm definitely feeling jaded energy going on here. So it's saying we need to not be jaded, but that's like very like simple, and like, it's more complicated than that, so this is especially for anybody that feels like they've been doing something for a long time and they feel like they've lost the spark, or it's turned into something different that maybe when they first started, they started it for different reasons, or for like a more pure reason, and it has turned into something that wasn't what they thought it was going to be. I hope that makes sense, but this is about kind of going back to basics and going back to like what was really what called you to it in the very beginning, if that makes sense. So really trying to capture that feeling, or embodying that feeling is like a good way to say it. But yeah, there's something here about like, if you feel jaded about something in life, just in general, definitely pay attention to this, because it's saying like you need to kind of, to survive, to make it through, you have to kind of connect that energy of why you started in the beginning, like connect to that feeling, connect to that why, like that kind of thing. All right, action needed, we have yin. Okay, yin is the being energy. It's the more still energy. Opposite is yang. Yang is more doing, getting things done, structure, that kind of thing. This is more emotions, more intuition. And so basically, it's funny because it's it's basically inaction. So we have the inaction card under the action needed. So basically it's saying we need to take action on the inaction, okay? So this means being in our being. No rushing this week. If you have a lot of things on your plate, it's going to overwhelm you for sure. I mean, maybe normally it does, but if you're going against the energy of the yin, then yeah, it's definitely going to even more. It definitely does feel like Spirit is asking us to maybe feel our emotions, connect to our intuition, like that kind of thing. And yeah, there's not too much more I can say here. You guys know the yin energy. It's really calm energy. It's really beautiful energy. We all need it. We all have the yin, we all have the yang, but so far, being the second card I just pulled, doesn't feel like it's like a supposed to be productive in the traditional sense, I will say, because you can be productive by napping and taking a break and being in the present and like that kind of thing. That's still productive because that helps us recharge, right? So this is kind of like a recharge period, it feels like. So your action needed is to recharge. How many times can I say that? Just trying to get the point across, that's all. Okay, issue, Druid, hold the space. Okay, makes sense. So we have issues doing it though. So holding the space sometimes could mean like holding the space for your own emotions, to process them, to experience them. But this could also mean active listening, could be for yourself, but it could also be for other people, but it's under issues, so we're having issues with it. So we're having a hard time being in that yin energy, right? Because that's technically active listening, communication skills, all of those things fall under the yin energy. yeah, relational skills for sure. So we're having issues with that. But more so, I definitely do feel like we might just like have issues just processing our own emotions. So we need to hold the space for that. Okay. So whatever it is you're going through, it's a lot, and Spirit is definitely recommending us to, process it this week or whatever's been going on. But again, I know you guys have issues, and this is a reading for the collective, so it could be a few different things kind of going on of why you can't process them or why you can't hold the space for yourself. Maybe you're really hard on yourself. Maybe you just frankly don't have the time. Maybe the emotions are too painful. The experiences are too painful. Okay, that could be it as well. So take that as you will, and try your best to be kind to yourself, have self-compassion, like that kind of thing. All right, challenge, monk, nun, selfless devotion, and single-minded dedication to Spirit. Okay, you can't make this stuff up, guys. This is basically saying it's a challenge to connect to our inner monk, to our inner nun, to our inner connection, right? Whether it's to higher self, whether it's to a higher power, source, to God, whatever you want to call it. We're having issues there. So do whatever you can this week. It's been a while since we've had a card like that. When it comes up, it always tells me we're having issues with it, and definitely having issues with it. That's under challenge. So pray, meditate, go to church. If you're religious, go to church, read spiritual text. Get into that. Watch spiritual videos. Meditate, if I didn't already say that. They're all different. Go into nature. Whatever you can do to feel more connected, to feel like you're more connected to others, to feel you're more connected to Earth, to feel you're connected to a higher power. Okay. So do what you can, but again, it's under challenge. So it's going to be challenging for us for a variety of different reasons, depending on the person. All right, what's changing here and now? Okay, so you can't make this up, guys. 4 cards in a row that are basically yin energy coded. Okay, because this is here and now just means present, staying in the present, being in the present, taking a break, calming down, smelling the roses, right? Smelling the flowers. Okay, so that's what's changing, is that we are starting to live in the present a lot more meaningfully. Okay, and that could look different for a bunch of different people. For me, this is how it resonates. You know what, guys, I always give my examples. It stinks, but this is how I have survived the last several years, is I'm always looking to the future. When am I going to be healed? When am I going to feel better? Because as time goes by, I feel better and better and better and better. So I'm always looking to the future. This would be a change for me. Okay, to be in my body every single day. It's very difficult when you're sick, when you have health issues. It's very, very difficult to do that. So I'm not sure if I'm too thrilled about that, to be honest, but it might be just a simple flip of the mindset of, instead of, living so much in the future, I'm living more day to day, more in the present. This fares well for people that have anxiety as well, because anxiety is just worrying about the future all the time, worrying about things, scenarios that might not even happen, things that might not even happen. So, and that kind of thing. So, we're becoming more present. We're becoming a little bit more embodied, and we're becoming a little bit more calmer, and of course, more present for sure. And that's always a good thing. Okay, focus. Hunter, track down your fears and desires. Okay, so this is going after what you truly want. I love that. It's under focus, so that's good. It's basically saying your focus is usually priority. So your priority should be about what you actually truly want and what you actually want. So it's actually about goals, which is interesting because I just came off of the here and now, but this is maybe a more present type focus about what do I, checking in with yourself today. As of today, what are your goals as of today? Maybe not in the future, necessarily what you want to be doing 10 years from now, but what are your goals for today? Do you want to get 8 hours of sleep? Do you want to drink 3 liters of water? That kind of thing, okay? And so those examples obviously are health-wise, but could be, other things. If you're in a long-term relationship, do you want to, do you want to be more communicative? Do you want to be more affectionate today? Like that kind of thing. A very short term in the present, not necessarily super future focused kind of deal going on. So I love that. So basically daily goals would maybe be a good way to put this, but Yeah, so you can incorporate both of those things. So you may be finding that you might be focusing a little bit more on shorter term goals, I should say. All right, what do we got for reflect, guys? We've got teacher, ability to communicate knowledge, experience, skill, or wisdom. Okay, we have in the light. Okay, so this is about how reflecting on your teaching skills. How good of a teacher are you? Your communication skills definitely come in here. So this is especially good if you're thinking about being a teacher or teaching something, teacher, mentor, passing along knowledge in any way, shape, or form. Maybe you're training somebody at your job this week that puts you into this archetype for sure. So thinking about how you can actually do that. If maybe you're physically going to school to be a teacher, maybe you're studying special ed or something, thinking about those type of qualities. What makes a good teacher? Am I a good teacher? How do I what are the qualities that are needed to be a good teacher, like things like that. So reflecting on how you can be more articulate in your communication, I will say, because that's part of being a good teacher, right? Okay, responsibilities. We have go the distance. Okay, so this is I would say this is yang energy for sure, but so our responsibilities are to go the distance. So that means don't quit. Okay, so look, if things feel like, because of this first row, feels a little slow, okay, going on, because we're in maybe that yin energy, this is saying, even if you have to go a little slow, you don't have to quit, okay? Because yes, I think that's a cheetah, right, on the card. Cheetahs are fast, but they also don't give up, right? They go the distance, right? And so this is basically saying your responsibilities are to not give up with whatever you're doing, but you might have to slow down or be more present with it. That's it, okay? Or take a break. That's okay too. Like I said, I think I said earlier, being productive is actually part of the plan most of the time. Like, there's a reason why humans go to sleep every single night, because we have to recharge. Like, imagine never sleeping. Like, that's crazy. It's really crazy. We wouldn't be able to function, okay? So it's all part of the plan, but this is saying, like, if you have to, stop something or take a break from something, it's okay as long as you don't quit. That's basically your responsibilities are to stay in the game, is basically what it's saying. All right, money, finances, and career. What do we got going on? We have direction, guardian, choose your path. Okay, so I definitely feel like options are opening up for us in money, finances, career, that kind of thing. I like it. There's not too much more I can say here. Maybe more options to make more money. Maybe it falls into your lap. I can definitely feel that. A friend of a friend reaches out and says, hey, I have this new business and I need an extra salesperson. Can you help me? Whatever it actually is, like, I feel like it's coming to you. And this, like, sometimes this card is kind of like about like having to make a decision, but this just feels like there's lots of options that you don't necessarily have to, it's not like you have to choose path A or path B. You can actually choose path A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, so this is basically saying unlimited options. Doesn't always come through that way, but I read intuitively, as you know. Definitely feeling a more abundance type energy coming through here. Thank goodness, we've been getting, some not so great cards or some neutral, I would say, cards through money, finances, and career. But now I definitely feel an abundance. So you definitely, if you've been looking for like another way of, avenue of income, this fares really, really well in general. So I love that. Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if you increase your position of being able to make more money in any way, shape, or form. So I'm just going to kind of like throw that out there. And it's very interesting with all of that yin energy at the top row, right? Because, and all that, like being present and feeling your emotions, like those are things that we have to be doing. I'm not necessarily forcing you guys. The Spirit's not forcing us, but it's kind of alluding to the fact that, like, yeah, you can stop and you can still make money, I hope that makes sense. It's not always, on the go, hustle. Like, it's almost like the exact opposite of that. So, yeah, I hope that makes sense, but, when a week when you feel like you're not being productive and the abundance is going up, that's a good week. That's all I have to say to that. Okay. We have Avenger in the shadow resorting to violence in the name of a cause. Okay, surprise. Interesting. Okay, so, how I see the shadow in the Avenger is like somebody doing trying to, and I've explained this to you before, and sorry I keep explaining it, but it's almost like you want to do good, but by doing good, you do something else. It's kind of like you want to do good, but you break the law, right? And guys, I don't want to get too far into it, but like, that's like an example that I will give for this, where it's kind of like, it's kind of like a tit for tat, maybe kind of situation I want to say. But it's maybe going too far for a cause, or, maybe doing, again, like I said, doing something illegal or doing something harmful to someone else in the name of doing something good for somebody else, for one person, but it becomes negative for another. So it's under surprise. So I think I gave this example before. If you guys are familiar with those people in the States, we know about Luigi Mangione. Absolutely a almost perfect example of a shadow avenger. Okay, so some people could look at him as a hero, some people could look at him as somebody, it's not a hero, everybody has their own opinion, that kind of thing, but that's like the perfect example. So it's under surprise. So I don't know if we're having like another Luigi Mangione situation. This could be maybe something that bleeds into or meshes into current events. I don't know, maybe, but it could also be personal, but something maybe happens where maybe somebody is, or maybe you try to do good for someone else and it kind of backfires. Okay, so just be careful with that. Okay, it's under surprise. That's all I have to say. Maybe we could look at it as a warning, but Spirit is never, here to scare us or anything like that. But just keep that in mind. We always try to, do good for the world, but if it harms, another person or organization or group of people or whatever it actually is it really good? That's the question we need to be asking. But yeah, it's under surprise, so might come out of nowhere, but again, just be mindful, just be aware. Okay, what do we have under friends? We have flexible. Okay, we've gotten the flexible before. I think we got it actually last week. So it's just asking us to be more flexible with maybe plans with friends, maybe be more adaptable with their schedules, maybe be a lot more flexible with their opinions, give them more leeway with their opinions or the things that they say. Maybe they're having a bad week, don't necessarily take it too personally, like that kind of stuff. So yeah, definitely taking it personally, it would fit into this for sure. Not taking it personally. But yeah, just be flexible with your community, the people that you hang out with every day, or, on a maybe work friends, usually friends means like the people you surround yourself with every day. So yeah, just be flexible as you can. Being flexible is always a good thing. Romantic connection, we have heart guardian, love, and let yourself be loved. Oh, I love this. So this is about receiving the love from your partner. Love it. Make sure we receive. That's part of the yin. Yin is receiving, yang is giving. So that makes sense up there. So this is definitely about allowing yourself to be loved, taken care of, worried about, loved, that kind of thing. So definitely accept any love coming your way. I love that. Take compliments, people. Okay, that's also part of that. Okay, what's important? Midas Miser, entrepreneurial creative ability to turn anything to gold, delight in sharing life's riches. It's important. Okay, so it's saying it's important to do these things, basically, or being in this mindset or being in this archetype. So you have the ability to make money no matter what. That's really kind of what it's saying. It's saying if this was in the shadow, it would be different, but it's a completely different energy in the light. So it's actually more abundance energy. So it's under important. So I love that. So it's basically saying that you can like turn anything you want into gold, basically. Okay. And so it kind of goes hand in hand with the options. Like I said, I was definitely getting an abundance type feeling here. So love that. And it definitely accompanies this Midas Miser. So this is really, really good for anybody that wants to step out and do their own thing, entrepreneurial-wise, independent contractor-wise, or anybody that has like an idea and they're wondering if it could make money. This is a sign that it definitely can. Okay, so it's important for you to understand that, and it's important for you to understand that money is in abundance, financials are in abundance, and kind of get more into that prosperous. Yeah, I definitely feel it's getting into more of like a prosperous type mindset, embodying that more, which I love because it's accompanied with like some of the yin energy going on here. So I love it. You know, like passive income is like a good example of that as well. Love it. Okay. Health and wellness. TikTok. Okay. So this is about kind of like running out of time or feeling like time is not on your side or feeling annoyed with time. I could totally, and that totally resonates with me under health and wellness. But this feels like we're like on a deadline, or I definitely feel like there's maybe some nervousness here where we feel like, when am I going to be better? Trust me, you guys don't know how much I resonate with that. I resonate with it so much. Hopefully you guys do too. Let me know down below. When am I going to get better? When am I going to be done with these, therapy sessions? When am I going to be resolved with my trauma? When is this going to be over? That kind of thing. And like I said, the here and now, the thing that's changing is we're moving more into the thinking about the everyday, staying in the present, than it is about kind of more of that mindset. But I definitely do feel like there's like a ticking clock, that we're too worried about time. And I totally get it. It's a very human thing to like think about that kind of thing. I always kind of give like an example of like a wellness journey of weight loss. Okay. When am I going to lose my 30 pounds? When am I going to have my dream body? When, right? So it's always thinking about like that. Don't think about that. That's kind of what it's saying. It's saying like that might be messing us up. Okay. So really embody more of the here and now. And I think maybe that's the shift going into August, because this reading is, the last week of July going into the beginning of August. I'm very excited to do the monthly, which I think, guys, I will have out. Yeah, I should have out on Thursday. So definitely look out for that, August. I'm very excited to see, and maybe we'll see some of these themes. Maybe we'll see more of the yin energy. Maybe that card will make, an appearance again with the monthly. But yeah, this is about like, we're telling ourselves that we're running out of time, but we're, that's just like that's an ego thing. That's what we're telling ourselves. That's what our mind is telling us. It's not necessarily true. Okay, so being more in the present is definitely needed for sure. All right, overall outcome. Seers, see beyond our current situation. Okay, so this is about, interesting that we're ending with something that's kind of talking about like seeing beyond what's kind of going on now, because I just finished talking about like being in the present. But it's also good to tell yourself today that where you are today is not necessarily where you will be in 10 years. And I think that's part of the issue, is that we're worrying so much about time and maybe running out of time, or feeling like something is not going to end, or something is not going to begin, or you're not going to have this, or you're not going to have that. I think there's a lot of it almost feels like a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves. And I think that's like part of the message here for this week, is to know that putting pressure on, like maybe you want to start a family. Okay, guys, I'm very, very aware. Okay, this could be a fertility journey here in health and wellness. I'm very aware that there's an actual clock, on a woman to physically have, a child and start a family. I totally understand that. But Spirit is still saying like obsessing about it, or like attaching to a specific timeline. All of those things are they're not necessarily good for morale. They're not good for your spirit. Okay. They're not good for your soul. Okay. So this is basically saying that like you have to see beyond what you're going through right now. And just because you're going through something right now doesn't mean that it will be the same thing that you're going through. Doesn't mean that where your situation is right now doesn't necessarily mean it will always be that way. Like things are always in flux and things will always change. That's the only constant in life. is change, change, change. So, and that's why we have a section here for change, because something is always changing, okay? Nothing ever stays the same. So, and I hope you guys know that. And even if, like, maybe you're looking at this reading and you're like, well, I love everything right now that's going on in my life. I don't want anything to change. Even it goes that way too, right? Is that, you know, so it might actually, this reading might resonate more with you, because you're saying like, oh my gosh, things are so great right now that I really need to bask in it, you know, every day, you know, be present every day about how wonderful things are, and, you know, connect to that more instead of worrying, you know, about things in the future and that kind of thing. So yeah, definitely there's elements of time here of, again, being more present, and being more inner being, with the yin energy up there. So, and that in turn kind of turns into more abundance and prosperity. So I love that. Okay. So there's a lot of actually positive things that this is reading. I actually don't see anything that I would like call a red flag, to be honest with you guys. So I'm liking this. So definitely looks like it's going to lead into a good August, and I'm excited, guys. Very, very excited. So, oh, I would say maybe the only red flag here would be just watch out for the Shadow Avenger. That's all. But honestly, I would call it minor. So almost forgot about it. It was that minor. Okay. So guys, have a wonderful, wonderful week. Let me know down below if this resonates with you, and I'll see you for the August monthly. Like I said, I should post that Thursday. Okay, thanks guys. Have a good one. Bye.